and turn it into something that is yours.
That's fresh. But I think of all the areas of photography, fashion photography obviously is the most glamorous. I have to say it's got the biggest audience we've had today so far.
I'm not sure I'd agree with that.
but I mean, that's the point, isn't it? I mean, I don't think people realise also, unless you're actually involved in it, what the rates of pay are, for example, of exactly how you get paid if you shoot for a magazine.
Yeah. Do you get paid for a magazine?
Increasingly not. But I mean, you know as well as I do that, you know, it's fashion photography works on a basis of page rate.
Sure.
And
or day rates sometimes too.
Occasionally day rates, but a lot of it is page rates, and it may be as little as £100 or £200 a page. So you're really looking to get as many pages as you possibly can. So the glamorous lifestyle of it is perhaps slightly different.
From a purely financial point of view, yes. But people often see too that the actual shoots themselves are incredibly glamorous. But you know, the really, really hard work takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and to just get it right.
Do many people believe you when you say that?
No, not a lot. No, but the thing is that, you know, if you're in the studio, for example, you're in a controlled environment, you stand a much better chance of really getting through the day, getting all your shots done. If you're out on location and you've got lots of other, you know, unpredictable elements to deal with, whether it be weather, whether it be the general public, whether it be any number of things, cyclones, hurricanes, little things, you just have to kind of work around it somehow.
And when you're on a shoot, how do you actually run the shoot itself? I mean, having assisted such great photographers, what's your expectation from your assistants, and what's your role on the day as you see it?
I think I'm pretty tolerant. It depends on the expertise and the experience of the assistant in question, but if they have a lot of experience, my standards are higher. If they're still kind of learning assistants, then I give them a lot of slack because they just don't have the knowledge. Because I use freelance assistants, I have a little sort of pool of guys and girls that I use as assistants. They all tend to kind of, after a while, get to know how you work, how you like to work, what speed.
And how do you like to work on a shoot? I mean, how do you direct the fashion shoot?
How do I direct the fashion shoot? I like to shoot pretty fast. I don't like to mess around for too long. It depends if it's editorial or commercial, obviously. If it's editorial, you tend to have a little bit more time to play. If it's commercial, you have to get a lot more done, and you have to be a bit more ruthless about, you know, the shots that you're getting out of it.
It used to be the case that fashion photographers in particular would do the editorial to get the advertising shoots. You've worked for Vogue, you've worked for Elle, you've worked for Tableau, all of the magazines which people, as fashion photographers, you aim to work for, with the idea that they are then a shop window for your work to commercial clients. I know that has happened in the past, but I'm not so sure that happens so much now.
I don't think it's as much the case. It definitely was exclusively the case that editorial just led to commercial work. I mean, that's one of the reasons you accepted sort of lower pay for editorial, because you knew that the payoff was working with advertising agencies, you know, catalogs, whatever the case may be. But now, I mean, you know, with the internet, I mean, there's so many showcases. I mean, just looking at, you know, some website like Flickr alone, you can see tons of amazing photography, not shot by professionals, but some of whom, you know, and I'm sure there's art directors kind of, you know, sort of looking at Flickr and other sites like it, and finding people who are unknown as photographers.
But that raises an interesting point, which is how much more competitive the marketplace is for someone established such as yourself, as well as any other photographer.
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, in my case, it's a little bit different. I've been around for a little while, and people know me, and hopefully, you know, carry on using me for that reason. I mean, part of what you develop over time is a level of trust between you and clients. And even if, I don't know, an art director you've been working with in a given magazine moves away and you stop working for that magazine, they often go somewhere else and will take you with them. So there's an element of kind of thought rotation as photographers, I find, that does seem to carry on. But as far as competition is concerned, there's always going to be new competition. I mean, the longer you're around, the more kind of younger guys and women coming up behind you are going to just create that competition.
And how did you find it moving? Because I know you increasingly did a lot more portrait, and you do a lot more portrait work now. Was that a natural progression from the fashion work?
It was. I mean, just by virtue. I mean, I think one of the first or second fashion shoots I did involved real people as opposed to models. So instantly, that was portrait photography involving a fashion element. And I think that portrait photography, to me, is something that, combined with fashion, leads to all the sorts of other stuff that I've done, like music photography.
Right.
So that all those ingredients come together in creating an image about a person, but still with a fashion sensibility. And I think that as a fashion photographer, you're sensitive to those aspects of a portrait shoot that maybe just a pure portrait photographer might not be. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, but it's what it's what I do.
And did you find when you were starting, when I used to commission you, I always knew what I was going to get from you as a kind of image.
Did you?
Yeah, because if I didn't, I wouldn't commission you, because you have to. If someone's going to commission you, you've always got to have an idea as to what you're going to get from that photographer, because you're then balancing that photographer's work with other photographers' work that you're also commissioning for the same issue of the magazine. So, was that something that it's been hard to hold on to?
It's nothing that you're really consciously, or at least I wasn't consciously trying to do.
It's taken 20 years for me to tell you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. The thing is, you go along, you do your work, you do your jobs, and you have your point of view, you have your eye, and that eye is applicable to whatever you shoot, whether it's portraits, fashion, interiors, cars, landscapes. It is always your point of view. And I think, if anything, that defines the continuity you're talking about.
But that's the hardest thing to find, isn't it? I mean, that's the true difference between becoming somebody who takes pictures and becoming a professional photographer. It's that point at which you can deliver again and again and again.
I suppose. I mean, obviously, your reliability